So welcome to the official Pingree Peer2Peer podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sophia, and
I'm Anaïs. I guess you could say I'm a guest interviewer. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, but anyhow, today we're interviewing Mr. Leone. So
hello,
I'm Mr. Leone.
Pleasure to be here.
Yes, it's pleasure to have you. So I guess we'll just start out with, how did you end up teaching at Pingree?
The journey to my starting here is actually a little bit of a long one. So when I was coming out of my student teaching experience, back when I was going through my master's, I was a little jaded by the education system. And I was kind of applying to a few schools as kind of like is this like really where I want to be? Let's just try throwing out some applications, some cover letters, resumes, all the fun job application stuff that one will eventually get to experience.
Yippee.
And Pingree was the only place that called me back. And they said, hey, we like your resume. We don't have a spot for you, but do you want a sub? And I'm like, sure. So I started off as a on-call substitute. And I did that for a year on top of tutoring and working a retail job. So that part-time job grind, always fun. And a position opened up at the end of that school year, and they called me for it. And, I give Pingree a lot of credit for kind of like rekindling my passion for teaching and education. So I'm very happy to be here.
That's great.
Yeah, it's really cool.
A bit of a follow-up question. Did you always know that you wanted to go into teaching, or?
If you asked me out of high school, no.
Okay.
But I think as I had some opportunities beyond, my normal college education, working for the Johns Hopkins Center for Talented Youth on kind of a whim one summer, and realizing, this is kind of fun, and it's kind of rewarding to be able to make a difference, albeit small. And so it kind of steered me in that direction at a time where I was kind of looking for one, and just kind of, random positive happenstance that just kind of happened that way.
Nice.
That's great.
Oh, yeah, sure. What are some moments, throughout your Pingree career that you really remember? What are some standout moments, amazing times that you've had so far?
I think in a classroom setting, I don't know, there's just so many. It's hard to pinpoint in the classroom. I think the biggest moments for me kind of relate to taiko in terms of a standout thing. The first year that I got to really share taiko with the community, as kind of more of a, hey, check this thing out. This is what I do outside of school. And the community was like, yeah, this is totally awesome. I want to try this. And, kind of, what was I going to say?
No, you're good.
Yeah. And it just kind of took off from there. And, developing it into what it is now, it's just, beyond my wildest dreams at the time, because taiko had always been a long-term goal to establish here for me. And now that it's realized, it's kind of sky's the limit now.
Yeah, to follow up on that, actually, how'd you first get into taiko? You talk about it a lot. It's a big thing here at school now, so where'd that come from?
Yeah, I know everyone's looking forward to the assembly that's coming up. So
yeah, we're very excited about that. We've got a lot of really cool things planned for it. But yeah, my taiko journey started in college, and I was a music minor, and one of my classes was a global music course, studying how music kind of evolved and developed all over the world, regional styles, all that sort of thing. All that sort of stuff. Yeah, words, whatever. And the part of the course was we had to take a field study. We had to actually go to see a performance somewhere. And our professor was like, hey, there's this group from Japan coming to Philly. And I was like, yeah, sure, I don't know what else I would do. And that was a very transformative performance for me. I met someone a week and a half later at the local Cherry Blossom Festival in Philly. And he also went to TCNJ, the College of New Jersey, and was like, hey, I'm kind of interested in starting this too. My friend is in a group in Stanford. I'll follow up with you when I'm like ready to start. And that's usually the end of that kind of thing. Usually like I'll email you when I'm ready to go is just like, that's the last you ever hear of them.
Yeah,
but
you're not hearing back from us.
yeah, but I did. I talked to this guy in April, and then I got an email in October, like the next school year. Like, hey, I remember I talked to you. We'll have a first practice. I'm like, okay. Follow up. That's impressive. And I played it, and the first time playing through, I was like, what am I doing? This feels weird. It doesn't look like I'm doing it right. It doesn't feel like I'm doing it right. But with time and patience, kind of evolved, and it became a passion. And again, like kind of at a time where I was like looking for something to latch onto, and it just kind of like fell into my lap, so to speak. So yeah, now it's become like such an important part of me, and it's to be able to share it with anyone from the Pingree community, much less have it be such an impactful part, is it's so humbling, and it means a lot.
Well, that's really cool. Yeah, I had no clue you were a music minor.
Oh yeah,
I don't think anyone like knows that.
Yeah.
It's funny. I had a friend in college who told me like, I think of you more as a music minor than a math major.
Yeah.
Just because I think I love math. Don't get me wrong, but college math is a little hit and miss for me.
Got it.
Yeah, there were a couple courses that I took them, and I'm like, you know what? No, this is not what I want to do. Like going into college, I had this whole dream of like, all right, I'm going to be a PhD in mathematics. I'm going to be like a professor and just like do all this cool stuff. And then sophomore year, I took a course called Real Analysis, which is basically like, hey, why is calculus?
It's the philosophy of calculus.
A little bit.
Why do we math?
Yeah, a little bit of that, but just like so minute details. Like if you're like kind of, I use the equivalent of like, calculus, like AP calculus, you put the key in the car and you drive. Real analysis, you look under the hood and you examine every nut, bolt, piece of metal that's in there to like see why it works the way it does.
Oh, that's kind of excessive.
It is a little bit. And some of the stuff that we did was excessive. An entire page to prove that 0 is less than 1.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah, that course was...
Serves you well for critical thinking, I guess.
I guess. But yeah, no, that course changed my trajectory. Kind of made me rethink what I wanted to do. The professor, I very vividly remember when I was like kind of confused by something and kind of frustrated. He said, "You need to make math your life." Oh. And that was the moment. I didn't realize it then that I was like, nope. There is more to life than any one thing.
Wow, that got deep.
It kind of did. I mean, I don't know if this is where you expected that to go, but yeah, no, it's like, I'm always a big believer in balance in life. Mm-hmm. And if you just spend your time just doing one thing, it's like, why, what's the point? Mm-hmm. Like, you need like other outlets. Mm. I remember when I was in college, I think it was my junior or senior year. At this point, I was already kind of thinking, okay, I'm not going to like continue with like higher level math outside of this, just kind of like do what I need to do, move on, and then kind of figure things out from there. In the cafeteria, I was just kind of hanging out with my friends. We were chatting about stuff off topic, just silly things. And then I passed by a table with a whole bunch of, math classmates, and they're just talking about math. Because I know they go to class, they go to the library to work on math, and apparently they go to the dining hall to continue talking about math more casually.
That sounds so
and then they go back to the library.
Dystopian.
Well, I mean, if they're enjoying it,
if they're enjoying it, that's fine. I just, look at that and it's like, there's got to be more.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be more to what you are than just the thing you study. Mm-hmm. And, just finding that other thing, I think, is so important, mm-hmm. so that you're not just like on one track the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of like on that point actually. Finding other things. You're the club advisor to my club, the D&D club. So I know that's a big thing for you. Taiko's a big thing. What are there some other passions, interests that you pursue beyond math?
It's an interesting question because I think growing up, and I kind of experienced this a little bit too, I kind of find I kind of gravitate towards things in bursts where it's like,
Me too.
oh, check out this shiny thing.
Well, that's valid.
Yeah, like hyper-fixating on something.
Kind of like fixate on that. Be like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. And then after a little while, it's like, yeah, I'm bored.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm the same way.
Yeah, but I think, I've always been interested in kind of like that sort of like role-playing game kind of thing.
Kind of
like
a lifelong thing.
Yeah, like the D&D, I tried it twice with friends in college, and it's always one of those, it was fun in the moment, but then everyone else just got busy with other things, and it was just hard to get people together for that. And when you become an adult, like a proper adult out of college, then you realize like everyone is just so spread out. And like all the people that you were close to just are like in completely different states, which again is a little deeper than I had anticipated going with that. But it just becomes harder and harder to just find those people that you can really connect with and like have those commonalities and really get to do something like D&D with, because that's a very like get a group of people together, sit down for a couple hours at a time and just enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
Enjoy the experience of being with each other, playing as like this other character that you can kind of like channel a little bit of yourself into. It's just a challenge.
Yeah.
Well, next question we have is, do you have a favorite song, show, or book that you would like to share?
Book? What is book?
Those things with pages.
Yeah,
I guess it could be an ebook too. Yeah.
There's no math in it really.
Oh, okay.
It's like a math book.
Yeah. Now, books. I've never been like too big on books. Favorite song or show? Again, those kind of come in waves. I
I feel
think.
like I could guess that, but I'm not gonna try.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know. I feel like you listen to heavy metal.
Yeah.
Not Christmas music though.
No, it's too early for that.
No, it is way too early.
Well, if you count backwards, technically we're closer to Christmas, but
Nope.
like
Too soon. I guess for context for those listening in, I don't know. What kind of context do I want to give for this? I guess
maybe none.
maybe
Surprise
none.
them.
Just I don't know. Christmas music is just overplayed in my opinion.
Okay.
And
Retail
especially
workers
when you
Mariah
get to my
Carey.
age and you're just like, I've heard this already. Like play something new, but then you realize all the new stuff is just like really cheesy.
Yeah.
And it's like they're just in this for the cash grab. So I don't know if there's a win. I don't think there's a win condition here. Favorite song? I don't know. Music is definitely like a big thing for me. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Although, most of my like modern listening to musics is kind of in like that metal genre, but I definitely credit a lot of my like earlier kind of music interest to Weird Al.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, you say that with like such like, oh,
No. No, just memory kick,
Kind of random.
No worries. But no, Weird Al is like one of the first artists that I vividly remember like really like enjoying.
Yeah.
Like, when you're like really young, you don't really like follow an artist. You're just kind of like, ooh, song on radio. This is fun.
Yeah.
Oh, other song on radio. But Weird Al was one of the first where I like actually had like multiple of his albums and really like, can kind of like latch onto that. And I think he was all but 2 of the concerts that I went to for like live music performances. I think he's I credit him for kind of developing some of my like sense of humor. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But,
Say a good thing.
Okay. I know there's some people who are just like, oh my God, why? But yeah, he definitely is, very formative for me. Like he impacted sort of my like sense of humor, my, kind of introduced me to some artists that I wouldn't have like thought to listen to otherwise. So yeah, he's definitely definitely like someone that I can kind of resonate with.
Cool, cool.
All right. Next question we have is, what qualities do you value in students?
Oh, that one is deep too.
Philosophy time.
Yeah, right?
Don't worry, this last one gets even deeper, but
Okay. So I think with what I value in students, I think one of the things that I really appreciate in a student is sort of just the willingness to just dive into a topic. It might be challenging, it might be easy, but they dive into it with sort of that same level of enthusiasm and just curiosity. I think it's very easy to kind of get caught up in like, oh, I need to learn this for a test, or like, oh, this is going to impact my grade. But like, never mind the grade. Forget the grade. Who needs grades? I know that's also a very loaded question, but yeah, like just I appreciate someone who's just kind of like willing to just try a thing, just play around with math, enjoy the moment, and I think you'll come out of the other side of that like feeling that you have a deeper understanding of it. And then you can think about the grade and be like, okay, now that I understand deeper, I'm going to do better on the test, and all that sort of stuff. But, kind of in the moment, like focusing on the learning for the sake of learning, and then thinking about sort of the other stuff afterwards.
great. Well, thank you. But so last question, what general piece of life advice would you give to Pingree students to just wrap up the interview?
Sure. So I think the kind of what I just said, like, don't sweat the grades. Like, chase the understanding, their grades will follow. That has been my uphill battle for as long as I can remember teaching here. And then I guess the other one is just enjoy the moment. Like, high school doesn't last forever. I think this, like, having been part of the Pingree community for so long, I think it's definitely a more special experience than, like, for example, my high school experience. I think if I were here for high school, I think I would have left with some deeper connections and, perhaps, different interests, or more like be passionate about more things than I would have if I were just, compared to like my previous high school experience. So I think just enjoy the moment and, just have fun with it and stop focusing on grades.
Well,
Nice.
thank you so much, Mr. Leone.
Thank you for having me.
No, your answers were great, and
Very philosophical.
yeah,
Thank you.
no, it's just definitely will stick with me.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad.
but yes, thank you for being here. I think
Thank you.
that was great. Well, all right, tuning out then.